Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. April 1st. I'm not going to pull any pranks on you. No. Serious business. Oh my gosh, my camera is not working? Hold up. We got to fix the camera. Well, let's see here. I'm going to move it over to here for a second. I check that and I don't know why it's being like this. Deactivate, activate. Is it on? Ah. There we go. I'm sorry about all of that. It appears that my son got behind the computer and unplugged my cam link. All right. Well, okay, we've got big news coming here in a second, so I'm not going to do the rundown here. We got continuing jobless claims. Initial jobless claims, 680K expected versus the previous of 648K. Sorry about that one. I'm glad you find that funny, Pierre. Okay, so slightly less. Oh, it's higher than the forecast. 719 versus 680 expected. So it's a little bit higher than expected. The futures are not reacting to that. Well, that's very curious. Let's go to the charts here. Let me show you what's going on. All right. E-mini yesterday, pretty good up move, and then later in the day fading. And I believe that this fade was probably that month-end rebalancing that we've been talking about. They waited for it to get up to the VIX range projection high, and then they sold it. And there was a lot of market on close sell orders. So I think that all kind of worked out the way that it was anticipated, but they really waited until the end to do it. In the 10-year just got creamed yesterday, but now in the overnight session, recovering. All right. Now, when we go across the other products, there was a little bit of bullishness in oil because OPEC is going on now. Concerns about the economy with France going back into lockdown, though. And I'm not quite sure what this big spike down here is more recently, but we maybe should keep an eye on oil today. Yesterday, gold and silver had a pretty good day. Bouncing off there. We may, if we get another push up here, I think that you're going to get a lot of systematic trading coming in long. So, copper still kind of sideways, but down in the overnight session. So this, again, I think copper is like a really good proxy for global growth, and there appears to be some concern about global growth. Maybe Steve unplugged them. Yeah, right. You can see the dollar weakness coming in yesterday, recovered a little bit in the later end of the session, and now today it coming down a little bit. So if we see a break of those previous days' lows, maybe we got something going on in the dollar here, right? Meanwhile, back over here, 4,000 is in their sights, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them be pushing for that today. That jobless claims, though, a little higher than expected. Building permits month over month in Canada, 2.1 versus -1.4. That's interesting. The continuing jobless claims was in line, by the way. Well, it's all very interesting. I've never seen the market be that unreactive. Oh my gosh, my jaw just popped. I've never seen them be that unreactive to the jobless claims numbers. But you know what? We've got the non-farms tomorrow. And I guess that is going to be a big number, right? That is going to be a big, big number. Some people are expecting it to be up in the millions again, but if it's not, in fact, I would say that the street overwhelmingly believes that there's going to be more than the 600K that is expected to be in the report. So if it came out and it was negative, that would be like, oh my gosh, but I think that's very, very unlikely to happen. Let's see here. Mohammed El Arain pointing that there are lots of revisions in the report. This comes ahead of tomorrow's monthly jobs report, for which analysts' expectations are yet to converge from a notably wide range of 200K to 1.1 million. I was looking at it was 600K, so that's interesting. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, sorry, not getting started very well. I actually have a little bit of breakfast to eat too, so... Man, how did I thought I was doing really good getting ready and everything today, and it just ended up being a dismal failure. Oh, and it looks like my camera is messed up. What is the platform that you are using? I am using Jigsaw Day Trader. This might be that issue where I have it in the wrong USB slot. So for most of those questions, like what platform I'm using and so forth, those are covered if you go to my main YouTube channel page. I have a video, what's the best futures trading software platform, where I talk about what platforms I use. Those videos that will show up there at the top are the ones that, will answer most of those questions. So. There we go. I think I fixed it. No, it's me. My son got behind the computer and unplugged things, and I didn't realize that he unplugged the cam link. And right, and I guess when I just fixed it there, I guess the cam link was in the USB 3.0 port, and so the reason it was freezing was because I didn't have it in that. So I just put it back in there. I think we should be good. The thing that's funny about it is he's smart enough now to do things with objects that kind of make sense but don't make sense. Like he stuck the stapler inside of the tissue paper box. Well, interesting that they're not reacting. Also interesting that the market, I have not seen very much discussion at all, or any reaction really, to Joe Biden's tax plan to increase the corporate tax rate back up to 28%, which would be really high. In fact, I think that's the highest base rate in the world. Oh man, so Donald Trump has been putting out press statements. The only place that I see them is on the Donald, which by the way has become an awful website now. But it's the only place you see that stuff, and I don't know, man. It sure seems to me like he wants to run again. I don't know. But so he was talking about that, and he said, 28% would be the highest in the developed world. But the market doesn't care, it doesn't seem. So is it that the market thinks that the infrastructure improvements are more important? Is it that the market doesn't feel that it's close enough to be pricing in because Congress is going to have to work it out and Congress might not go for those tax increase proposals? Is it that... what was the first one that I said? Is it that infrastructure is so important that, they think they benefit more from that than from the taxes overall in the end? I don't know. If they pass HR, I don't think that they'll be able to pass HR 1. In fact, I'm already seeing Democrats kind of splinter on this. So just as an example, one of the things that's been fracturing the Democrats, according to my sources, newspapers and various stuff like that, is that some of these congressmen have districts that have been handpicked to be minority. So they slice out, the poor area of their city so that it's only minorities. And that's how that representative wins elections. And they're afraid that if they go to this redistricting thing, that they won't be able to get elected anymore because their district will change. Which is probably true. You say the French rate is at 33%, but you're saying you're mistaken about that. I mean, the tax rate before in the United States was 28% before, right? Theirs is at 26.5. I don't know. It kind of becomes a complicated subject at that point because what the overall tax rate is not indicative of, what the overall rate is it doesn't really matter because you can carve out all of these exemptions and stuff. And so then you get these companies like Amazon, probably one of the most profitable and fastest growing companies in the world, and they're not paying any taxes, right? Personally, if it was me, I think there would be no corporate tax because I really don't believe that corporations pay taxes. I think that they just pass that on to consumers. And so it's really just the consumer that pays the tax in the form of higher prices for everything. So why not just get rid of all of the corporate taxes and only tax individuals? Maybe by using offshore stuff. Then there's this other thing, which is, well, I don't know if they included that in there. Let's go somewhere where we can talk about more specifics, right? The coming fight promises to ignite a debate over how much corporate taxes matter for the health of the economy. Oh, wait. U.S. corporate tax changes. But Seth, the corporations are people too. Well, they are in terms of like having freedom of speech and things like that. Yes. Corporate tax in the United States history. That's not. That's not useful either. If my memory is correct, then it used to be 26%, and Donald Trump moved it down to 22%, and Biden wants to move it to 28%. After the passage of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act on December 20th, 2017, the corporate tax rate has been changed to a flat 21%. In January 1st, 2018, it was previously 35%. And Biden wants it to be 28%. So even Obama wanted to decrease it, but not decrease it as much as Donald Trump did. Okay. Okay. Okay, including raising the rate from 21% to 28% and imposing a 15% minimum tax on the book income of large corporations. So this is a big change because that means that it's impossible for a company like Amazon to pay nothing. They would, at the very least, after all of their deductions and everything, they still have to pay 15% on the book income, which would be a pretty big change for many corporations. That would be a really big hit to their earnings, right? The corporate rate to 28 would raise U.S. federal state combined tax rate to 32.34%, the highest in the OECD among group of 7 countries. Okay. So they're saying when you add the state taxes on top of that it would be higher than other countries. A minimum tax on the book income of large corporations would target gaps between financial and taxable income that generally exist because the rules for taxation differ from standards for reporting income to shareholders. Such a minimum tax would likely introduce additional complexity and distortions into the tax code and generate relatively little tax revenue, in part because firms have a degree of flexibility in reporting book income. The tax would potentially undermine current law investment incentives as well as those proposed by President Biden, such as the Made in America tax credit. Well, that's interesting. This is from the tax foundation that I'm reading that. So, of course, they're going to be anti-Biden's tax law, but... I was wondering if they had any of these other ones that were like on capital gains and stuff, right? Biden loves tax. Well, Democrats love tax, right? No. No, it needs to be something from the past week. Past week. Okay. Here's the New York Times. I don't know if that would be enough. I like how they say infrastructure plan will create 18 million jobs. Like, yeah, there's 18 million people out there who want to work outside and build stuff. I guess that's what the open borders are. Well, so here's the thing, though, is that building things can be a high skill job. It very much can, especially when you're talking about like building a bridge and stuff. Okay, like... illegal immigrants ain't going to be doing X-ray the welding jobs, right? Not that those people wouldn't be skilled enough to do that or wouldn't be able to develop that skill, but like there's like a huge certification process that you have to go through for those sorts of things. Is my understanding, and it's hard. I know people that do that, and it's like a big accomplishment for them. And if you're not actually illegal, I don't think you'd be able to get those jobs. So there are a lot of high skilled jobs involved in construction. It's not just digging foundations, right? They probably wouldn't pay as well as the IT jobs, but they wouldn't be bad jobs. In fact, they'd probably be good. There'd probably be a lot of people complaining about that. They're too good. They pay too well. They're wasting government money. Oh yes, another tax change would apply a new tax on foreign subsidies of U.S. companies. That one, I could see being a problem. Right now, the tax code rewards U.S. multinational corporations that shift profits and jobs overseas with a tax exemption for the first 10% return on foreign assets, and the rest is taxed at half the domestic rate, the White House fact sheet says. Moreover, the 2017 tax law allows companies to use the taxes they pay in high-tax countries to shield profits in tax havens, encouraging offshoring of jobs. The president's reform proposal will increase the minimum tax on corporations to 21%. And calculate it on a country-by-country basis so it hits profits in tax havens. It will also eliminate the rule that allows U.S. companies to pay zero taxes on the first 10 of return when they locate investments in foreign countries. That kind of sounds to me like it would just incentivize people to not have their business headquartered in the USA at all, you know? The face when you see construction projects only from the 5 positions at the top. Well, it's not. I'm just saying there are a lot of jobs in construction that are not minimum wage jobs. There is, especially when you're talking about something like building a bridge, right? In fact, I think the median wage for construction workers is about the median wage for the US, that it's like 50 or 60. We looked this up the other day. Well, construction itself isn't necessarily a minimum wage job, but it is one you can teach just about anyone to do. That may be. I think that, though, it's not necessarily that somebody has to have a college degree or anything like that, but that they have to have the experience and so forth, right? Like with welding, it isn't that the way that it works? Is you start welding, and then when you get enough experience, they show you how to do different kinds of welds and the sorts of welds that require them to do x-rays on them and stuff like that. So on the immigrant labor thing, right? I think it's really important to, if you want to understand that issue, I think it's really important to realize where the workers are doing, right? Because the vast majority of illegal immigrant labor comes in the form of seasonal farming work. These are the people that come around at harvest time. And, you know, if it's like a harvesting that I've seen lots of things where like there'll be a tractor and it'll be pulling a trailer, and the trailer has a bunch of people lying on their stomachs and they're picking everything. And that's how they do it, because it has to be done by hand, right? It's like that. It's that sort of stuff. I mean, I don't know many people who engineer things, but I know plenty of people who work construction almost. But, like, what kind of construction are you talking about, though, right? Well, when you say it depends on your location, I'm saying, like, overall, when you look at illegal labor in the United States, it's something like 60 to 70% of it is seasonal farm labor. And the stuff that you see beyond that, like you pointed out, landscaping is like a small fraction of that. But it also ends up being a significant portion of that landscaping, just because that's not a huge industry, you know? Types of construction: road work, home office construction, general contracting. Yeah, well, see, like a home, so like let's think about home and office construction, right? Because there's a bunch of different roles, right? Like there's digging the foundations, okay, which a lot of that is done by hand, and that is like, my understanding is it doesn't pay terrible, but it's not the job that you want to do, because it's like the most intense manual labor, you know what I mean? So there's that, and then there is the jobs that are like the framing and the roofing. Okay, yeah, those jobs are not necessarily skilled jobs, right? Roofing is huge, yeah. Okay, but then you have other jobs, like once you get the main framework up and everything, that requires skilled workers, like the electrician, the plumbing, the heating, the fine work on, fine woodwork and those sorts of things. Okay, and those aren't necessarily things that you go and get a college degree from, and probably anybody can learn it, but you have to get the experience and you get what you pay for. And those jobs, like really skilled electricians that work hard can make a lot of money, right? But we're probably talking more about roads and bridges and maybe like high-tech railway systems and things like that, right? So that's where I'm saying when the thing that you're building is mostly metal, it becomes a different game, right? So that's where I'm saying that I think that a lot of these jobs that would be in Biden's tax plan, I think you would be surprised at the number of them that are going to be like 50K or higher jobs a year. I have a buddy who's a master electrician. He makes a bank. Also, two brothers who own an HVAC company, and they make money too. Yeah. So, and here's the thing: is any time in history that we've seen countries spend a lot of money on infrastructure, their economy has done really well, right? That happened in the U.S. after World War II, when they created the modern highway system, right? And even, that was how Germany was able to get their economy going before World War II. Like stimulus in the form of infrastructure tends to work really well. And the United States needs it, frankly. I only wish I knew a pool guy. Oh, there you go. Yeah, but the thing is that they're using this infrastructure plan. It's really quite devious, don't you think? They're using this infrastructure plan that quite frankly we do need to do one way or another, but they're using it's just an excuse. I don't really think they care about the infrastructure all that much. They're using it as an excuse to restructure the tax laws, after the Republicans just changed the laws in a way that has been wildly successful, in my opinion. Before the pandemic, man, well, and there was the fighting with China that really hurt things, okay? But aside from those two things, the United States tax laws that they implemented in 2017 brought a lot of economic development to the United States. So much money came from overseas and came into the market, and people couldn't believe it. It was like the market just kept going and going and going. And even through all of that nonsense with China, I think that we held it pretty well. And Donald Trump kind of used all of that goodwill as kind of like a bargaining chip to fight with China. So I'd say it was really effective. And I just can't, I'm having a hard time understanding why the market isn't like, this isn't a bigger subject in the markets right now, Like, I don't see, there should be a day where we're down pretty good and everybody's like, oh, what's going on? And everybody goes, oh, it's because of the taxes, It's not happening. I can only surmise that they don't think that those are actually going to pass. I don't know. Oh yeah, like doling out $3 trillion in free money without raising taxes, and now we want to raise the taxes for infrastructure, right? Well, and I'm pretty sure that if you go in and do the math, that the amount of money that these tax increases would potentially raise aren't even close to making us to fixing the budget deficit. It's probably not even close. The budget deficit is a permanent fixture at this point. It can't last forever. It really can't. If that sticks around, it will become an issue in our lifetimes for certain. Republican Jesus couldn't fix that. Okay, so we're at the top of the hour now. The treasuries have been moving up quite nicely since that report. The E-mini has been pushing as well. Doesn't really show any signs of stopping. I don't know. I would like to just be long, but what you gonna do? I don't know if that's one that I can just straight up buy right there. Oh, by the way, I want to fix this. All right, there we go. You're lucky you have a skill in education. People like us who built our own companies, especially in service, don't have a place in the fourth industrial revolution. Well, but here's the thing on this Susie. Oh man, I'm gonna tell you something that they don't really want you to know. They being the large tech companies. So I went to school and I learned a lot about computer science and you know, there are some real difficult subjects in there that you cover and know as in computer science, right? Like how it manages memory and how languages work and complicated algorithms to do things, all right? Now, having that information makes a big difference in your job. Primarily, I think, because it helps you make software that is more sustainable. Because the issue that you have in most large companies is information technology is a drain. It's for most of these companies, it's not a profit generator, right? It's a maintenance cost, and it's a cost that they're trying to minimize as much as possible. And so having these engineers that are really truly engineers so that they can engineer a system that doesn't cost a whole lot to maintain is really important. Okay. But a lot of what you do from day to day is not that stuff, right? It's like those things, you pay for those things because they use that once a week when it's in the planning meeting or when that big project comes along or whatever the deal is. But a lot of what we do from day to day is like, you know, go in here and modify this text file and read through the documentation online and see what the value is supposed to be and try values over and over again until you get the system to work properly. There is a lot of that. There's a lot of that. So there is a push in the industry to get more people into the information technology infrastructure, right? That's why you've got these things like coding camps, right? Why is that? Because they don't want to pay computer engineers, you know, over $100,000 a year. Which is kind of where when I came into the industry, it was like you would start 60 and that was low, and most people were at 70, you know. Now it sounds like you starting out, you're like at least 90, right? But they don't want to pay you that. They want to pay you 50. They want to pay you 50, but they can't do that because there's not enough supply, right? So they are working very hard to get more people into that industry. And you know what? There are a lot of jobs that people can do that they don't really need that much education on it. They don't need to know how a linked list works. They just need to know how to use a text editor and read documentation. Right? When all jobs are IT, working IT will be the equivalent of working at McDonald's in terms of, well, I don't think they'll ever be like working at McDonald's, but it'll probably be jobs that are closer to the median income, right? So right now, information technology jobs are above the median income, and they want it to be at the median income. Now, the issue is I'm not so sure that the code camps are enough, because a lot of these people that come from the code camps, then they're given jobs that require the real engineering and expertise, and they don't do a good job, and then they realize they need the expensive guy, and they go back to the expensive guy. So that's an issue that they've been having. So part of it is being able to segregate the work so that they know who has the expertise and who's doing what correctly and everything. But another thing is that I think that they kind of have to fundamentally change education, right? Like, there is not a beginning programming class in high school, and I believe that it should be a required thing. I think that understanding what an if loop and a for loop should be something that people learn in high school. I don't think there's any excuse for that not to be. Everything automated. Well, the thing that I just, it always irks me about that conversation of automating everything is, if you automate everything, people are going to find something else to do. I suppose that's what the current destruction of meritocracy is for. Well, if they teach Python in grade school in some places, that would be good. Everyone should know some JavaScript. Oh man. JavaScript is a weird language, all right? I would not pick JavaScript as your first language unless making websites is what you want to do. And because JavaScript is so embedded in the front end for the web, it's like a required thing. But otherwise, it is not the best designed language. It's got like real issues. It's so weird, man. It is basically a really, really terribly conceived language that was spliced together to do something and became way more useful than it was supposed to be. And ever since then, they've been trying to fix that and try to get it to what would be like an acceptable programming standard. But you can only go so far. And that's why you've got all these things like TypeScript to change it so that it's actually like a real language with real, syntactic constraints, and all of these frameworks to deal with all of these other issues that you run into with JavaScript. It is so... Why the hell it was so complicated to make one thing? Yeah. Because it was... the part of the problem is that GUI programming is complicated. People don't realize. The thing is that so much of even programmers, wow, look at that, block by at 11. They buy in this like crazy. So we might get a little bit of a vacuum here though, so I wouldn't mind buying it like right there. The E-mini kind of came back too. I suppose if we wanted to take something, we might be able to do it somewhere down in here. But we're close enough to the open that I don't think I should risk that. What was I saying? Yeah, so GUI programming is complicated, and what has happened is they've tried to abstract a lot of it away and automate it so that you drag and drop a control onto a thing and it makes the element, right? Okay. Well, that's all fine and dandy. That takes away one layer of complexity. But there's this other layer of complexity, which is just the multi-threaded nature of it, right? So when you get into JavaScript, that multi-threaded nature is like staring you in the face front and center, and it's difficult to deal with. And most of my time in Java has been spent, okay, so here's the thing that we want to do. I found an example on the internet that explains pretty similar to what we're trying to do. And then you go and you program it and it doesn't work. And you have to sort through the code and how JavaScript works and the framework and everything else to sort out what is it about the multi-threaded nature of JavaScript that is making this so that it doesn't work. And it's for something as trivial as clicking a button and making something show up somewhere else on the page, Yeah, I saw that thing about Kathy Wood's, Vlad. He was talking about in Kathy Wood's ETF. Which one is it? The Space Exploration ETF. She owns shares of her other ETF, for starters, for 3D printing, I think it was, right? Yeah. And then she owns shares of John Deere. And so everybody's been joking about they're excited for when John Deere builds a rocket. There is a lot of question about what's going on over there, for sure. I was reading an article the other day that kind of went into more of the internal workings of that fund, and it really does sound like amateur hour over there, man. Well, it's great that we can predict market reacts to her. I don't know if it'll be for long. The thing is that I think that she's had more success than she deserves because of her social media presence. It's kind of tough to get an entry for a runner in ES nowadays. Well, this week it's been tough, hasn't it? There's been some runs, but it's been really choppy too. Like at the moment, I'm not seeing any kind of meta order coming through. There's a huge order at 39.86. We haven't been getting many clicks either, did I? Oh, yeah. I should also check my database. Oh, okay. We're good on that. We're good on that one. Oh, and I didn't even... Oh, man, that's so stupid. Oh, I can close this. There we go. NQ is better during these sorts of days. No, I would never confuse movement with good action, huh? If it's dead in all of them, and it's hard to make money in all of them, even if one does still have more oscillations. Financial literacy needs to be a mandatory class in high school? Yeah, probably. I feel like something is pulling me down. Maybe it's just that the microphone is too far away. I don't know. It feels like something's pushing me down like that. People are excited. Stocks only go up. They want free stocks. There's going to be more giving anyway. Yeah. And this whole thing is like, okay, when it doesn't just go up anymore, how are people going to react? Bitcoin being like the prime example of this, right? Like right now, the way that Tether is has things on it, they are beyond where they should be right now. Like they're way beyond it. It moved up too quickly. I always see all these things that are like, well, based on the last run, this is how far it should go and all of that sort of stuff, because those all went up X times. Well, first of all, the higher that it gets, the less it's going to do that, right? So all of those kinds of estimates are stupid to begin with. But part of it was that it happened so quickly, right? Like it came up there and it was like a matter of months or a matter of weeks. And there's just not the blockchain activity out there to support it. But it seems to me that the reason it's going up is because of fractional reserve banking by Tether, essentially. They have, unless the government gets involved, they have created a security that basically can always go up. I don't know, man. If it ever falls apart, then it'll be ugly, but people are starting to believe, once again, that there are these things that just only ever go up. I'm surprised to see that there are big moves in Square when Square was already a stock that had done really well. I'm kind of wondering, like, why did they even need all that kind of hype? If it was me, I would feel like that would be like a distraction to my business. I don't know. Plus, Miley Cyrus, I haven't heard anything about Miley Cyrus in such a long time. Oh, yeah. They didn't, yesterday was kind of interesting because, in the morning they got rejected at 60K. Then as Joe Biden was talking about his tax plan, it looks like they jumped over 60K and it was rejected again. So they've been holding that 60K level for a while. But again, as much as I dislike Bitcoin and as much as I have no interest in being in it because of the risks, I would expect it to not stop. I think that this probably continues going until May. There's really no reason that it has to stop. There's really nothing to stop it right now. If it comes back down, they'll just print more. The only thing that could stop it is like Elon Musk coming out and saying like, okay, I've liquidated all my Bitcoin holdings, something like that. Reading a headline about Dutch politics I didn't understand, but it seemed funny. So we should pull up this right here. Oh, rhythmic needs to be minimized too. I'll have the reader read that one.
Winston Smom says Bloomberg, contracts on the S&P-500 index advanced before Friday's U.S. non-farm payrolls data that may show the quickest pace of hiring in 5 months.
You ever notice that when it comes to shootings, if Republicans are running things, the media only sticks to particularly tragic shootings, but when the Democrats run things, any shooting that hits more than one person is a miss? That is, well, so I never looked at that as a pattern, but I think that you and I are thinking the same thing this morning. There was a shooting overnight where I think 4 people died and one of them was a child. And I'm like, okay, that happens in like every city in America on a regular basis from month to month. And there was a huge amount of media coverage on it when I woke up. Like, it was the top story almost everywhere, and I'm like, I don't get it. What's so special about this one? And the thing is it was like 4 people died. And there's like no information. Nothing about who the victims were or who the assailant was or why it was or anything like that. And so, yeah, I am absolutely sitting here thinking, seems like media is playing games here again. Maybe it's because that last shooting, what was the deal again? I don't remember. There was some tragic shooting. That wasn't enough to get people to move into gun control, so they're going to just push it harder and harder and harder because they really want to get gun control done. I don't think they can do it. I really don't. I really hope they don't, at least. My presumption is that the media does it because it anticipates immigrants are being more likely to do something about it. I know, like the issue is it's not the politicians. Yeah, Sean Deitzer's got it right. There are too many moderate Democrats that have guns. It is like the thing is that it's only in the inner cities where people have implemented really strict gun controls that you find people that are in favor of strict gun controls. And those are all of the areas where guns end up being a problem, are the places where it's already been done. Like somebody was making this great point to me not the great point, but I mean, there's a lot of compounding factors on this, but did you realize that I think they were doing Tulsa? It was either Tulsa or Oklahoma, one of those cities in the Midwest, you know? And at this point, those cities are as large as Detroit is, right? Detroit has really strict gun laws and they have a lot of violence there, but these other areas are like absolutely no problems. So I think there's a lot of reasons why that would be, you know, historically, and problems in areas that have kind of, you know, festered and have been around for a while and stuff. And I don't think anybody really truly knows why that kind of happens, but it does kind of smash the idea that it's like if you're just in a highly densely populated area, that there's going to be a lot of gun crime. Apparently, that's not necessarily the case. Because there are relatively large cities in the Midwest that have almost no crime. Oh, I'm sure I was he was saying I figured y'all bullied him away the other day. No, I think that I even think he was probably here yesterday. He just wasn't talking, was my assumption. Which I was like, I don't know. I was probably too hard on him. I was really frustrated that day. You know? I was probably too I do want to be really careful just so you guys understand where I'm at right now on a couple of things, okay? when I set things up so that we could give you guys the indicator through the channel, I was getting kicked up on chat too. I was like, leave that man alone. No. When I did all of the stuff to be a part of the Ninja Trader ecosystem, there's this huge long list of things that you gotta do to meet. So like you have to make the website, and then their compliance department has to look at it and confirm that you're not breaking any of the rules. And I don't think that these rules apply to everybody that's ever selling any kind of platform or indicator or anything. But because Ninja Trader is also a broker, that applies to them and all of their partners. All right. And a lot of these rules were like, okay, you cannot mention the chance of making money without having an equally weighted statement about the risk of loss. If you post results claiming certain earnings, those results have to be updated every 90 days. It was all of these sorts of things. And it kind of turned into, wow, this is way stricter than I ever thought it was. And so I'm just really concerned about ever coming in here and telling people something like that, you're just going to make money, or trying to, what is the word? Induce somebody to take a trade that ends up being poor. Right. So my whole position here is like, futures trading is very risky. The chances are that you're going to lose money. I would never take anybody that doesn't know anything about finances and has no interest in trading and be like, oh, you should do futures trading. Is something that's like the bug catches you, and if that's your thing, then that's your thing. But I wouldn't recommend it for people. You know what I mean? And so that's why I was kind of uppity about that. Okay, so here's the open. Look at them treasuries go. Them treasuries looking mighty bullish today. That E-mini's looking mighty bullish today. Well, that was interesting. So I'm going to be really risk adverse on this. Okay. Yeah, sure. Because it was a sell like that, we do have to consider if that is informed trading. I think that their tendency is going to be to push up anyways. But I think that one was enough that I need to be careful. Oh, I just want to make sure. Does that mean that he's not going to stick around? There'll be no fun without Ace. I'm just going to kind of let them do it here. It looks like they want to go and smack that high right, but even here at 89, they're having a little bit of an issue. Probably they'll break it, and there could be some stops into 39.90, but Ace balances the scales. Yeah, probably you're right. Otherwise, it'll just be me and Uzi going hyper conservative all the time. I don't know. I'm making an assumption there. He didn't say that that's what was happening, but Teletubbies has a Twitter. Why is New Squawk tweeting an image of Teletubbies? Okay, so they did break that. Man, if it's a lot of contracts trading in there, I don't know, man. That's interesting. Teletubbies is still a thing, apparently. Yeah. They were saying Daniel S. Loeb, I don't know who that is, followed the Teletubbies. Okay. There is a lot of absorption against this. This is not something we have seen around the open in quite some time. The way that it's pushing kind of suggests to me that the buyers are going to push through it anyways, but you know, that we had a really aggressive sell order to begin with, and now they're absorbing against that. It makes me really nervous. I mean, I really think that they're going to want to push to 4K today, but well, you see, they're not slowing down on it. But look at the way that it's trading on this. It's like one tick at a time, and there's a lot of volume going through it. And the cumulative delta isn't actually changing all that much either, by the way. Trading Floor Audio is tweeting S&P 4000. Is that because it is touching it in not in the futures, but the indexes? Yahoo Finance says universal basic income is one of the fastest ways to close the racial gap. Racial wealth gap, says the Oakland mayor. No, it's not. Because the people that don't need that income will just put it into stocks and make money off of it, whereas the people that do need it will spend it on things. And so it will actually increase that gap because those people that don't need it will have more income to invest with. Yeah, I guess I didn't realize that the futures and the index are 10 points off from each other right now. That's quite a bit. Micron soars on chip shortage. The stick says, "Oh, it's an April Fool's Day joke." Is that? I don't do April Fool's Day. But if it's an April Fool's Day joke, why didn't he come in and say, "Ha ha, I got you guys"? Freaking. He hasn't said anything since. I don't know, man. I'm a little my anxious attachment feels a little triggered right now, to be honest with you. Today's your birthday, Sean? Well, happy birthday. It's still just grinding here. This is very odd. I haven't seen something like this in the E-mini. This is kind of the kind of action, more like, you know, how the ES used to trade back when it was like 2000. Like 2000 was the price. The 1,000 playing their mind. I mean, they're absorbing on it both ways, but this is weird. AMC Entertainment shares turned negative the last down about 3%, huh? Okay. Ooh, okay. Big old order just popped up there. Did me acknowledging Sean's birthday have him hit the like button? Sometimes I don't acknowledge new people as much because we've had some issues with trolls like creating new names, and so I don't directly interact with the new names unless they're actually like saying something useful. So if I ignore you at first. So that big old order showed up. He pulled and moved up to the high. There's a big bid too. This is really hard for me because when I see things like that, it makes me want to get involved. But I have to remind, and I haven't had a situation like this for a while, but I have to remind myself that when those big players are getting involved, I don't necessarily want to mess with that area. The other thing I'm thinking about is like if we really did hurt Ace's feelings that much, I'm like, oh my God, I've said so many more mean things to him than that. Why? What is it about that upset him so much? I don't know. I'm trying to protect you, man. I feel like we were kind of getting into saying some things that could cause you some trouble. Was this? Oh well, yesterday was it? It wasn't yesterday. It was 2 days ago. It was Monday, right? Tuesday. Today's Thursday, right? Has today really Thursday? Wow. He was joking around with RJ Will, and he was kind of like, "Oh well, you should have taken the trade that I gave you guys." And I told him to please don't do that, because that's kind of inducing people to trade off of your edge, and that's not a good idea. Okay, so there was another slip there. It was the same one. It was like, You don't like long in the 10-year? Oh, no. You know what? I definitely do. I just never really saw the opportunity to get into it, unfortunately. And I've been paying much more attention to what's going on in the E-mini here. See that move right there? That ran close stops is interesting, right? Was in the same area too. And it was the same sort of a move. It was like a sweep. We do have something coming out here. What is it? Oh, market manufacturing PMI final. So lower, slightly lower than expected, but only by like 0.1%. There are the numbers at the top of the hour, so maybe we be waiting for those. Well, Ace gave you his email, so you can all just, send him an email about how much you appreciate him. Let's forget how this thing works all the time. Hmm. Thai SEC says investors must have experience in crypto trading. What? So after that, we're getting this absorbing behavior again. Although it's not nearly as many contracts, it kind of looks like they've fallen into a hole here now. Here's a quote from the market survey. The fastest rates of increase for both new orders and prices was reported among producers of consumer goods, as the arrival of stimulus checks in the post added fuel to a market upswing in demand. Hmm. Still very slow going through here. The Treasury pulled back a good amount, I suppose. I mean, I don't know where I can go long in the Treasury is the issue on that one, man. I'm actually a little bit at a loss as to why it sold so hard and why it bought yesterday and why it buying so hard today. Another thing I should add that you may not realize is that at the sellers have been in advantage a few points. I would say that we would have to get below the open to really truly have the sellers in advantage, but it's close. Like if there are some sellers could be making some money in here from their market making. Mm. No reason to reverse it yet. You're looking for that short, aren't you, Vlad? Well, you're always looking for the short, I guess. I mean, I do kind of feel like the short would make sense here, but I don't have a really strong fundamental case for me to do that. Well, I think I should wait for the news at the top of the hour before doing anything, huh? And I think that trade that I bailed out of it was good that I bailed out of that and scratched it. Saudi proposes rollover for 2 months, one OPEC Plus source says. Really? That should be good for oil, right? Oh, by the way, the dollar making another little move down. You say ZB is thick and quiet again, huh? Well, no, you notice how much more the 5-year has moved today, huh? It's a lot. The 5 and the 10 like really took off, and the ZB, it was like a tick or two up. It's like, okay. Oh, really? Micron and Western Digital are said to be exploring a deal to buy Kioxia for $30 billion. Oh. I have to put that one on the list for Steve. So it sounds like they're going to be popular. Yeah, that's funny. Uzi says that he took a short yesterday and he got out of it because it was slow, and then it just went on and on and on down. You could probably make a video on the scenarios on how to handle a trade when news is coming out. You don't know. The thing is it depends. I really don't like holding a trade through news unless I think I have a really good chance of getting the direction right, or I have a ton of profit baked in that I can risk, right? But you just got to realize that holding news is a big risk. Okay, so you see sellers do appear to have some control over this market at the moment. I want to click it so bad. Oh, everybody's still talking about non-fungible tokens. I'm surprised that the talk about non-fungible tokens is still going on. I'm surprised that so many people even give that a second thought. Like, it's... Surely everybody in the crypto sphere learned this lesson last time with CryptoKitties, right? Whatever. I guess the CryptoKitties are still around, though. I don't think that anybody became a millionaire off of CryptoKitties, but it is still around. Okay. 90 seconds. I mean, it's not even like big news. I don't know. It's we're gonna disappoint ourselves. It's gonna come out, nothing's gonna happen, and then we're gonna be like, okay, now what? The ISM. I mean, it's a reasonably important number, right? Mm-hmm. CryptoKitties is a blockchain game, is what they call it, huh? It's so weird because it's like the supply of CryptoKitties is infinite, but one CryptoKitty might have something about it that's so special that people want it. It's just so dumb. And the price that they were asking for some CryptoKitties was really ridiculous. And the Ethereum blockchain couldn't even handle it. It was like one application freeze the whole thing. Yeah. Okay, so some people are bulling here. Okay. It's a good number. Oh, really? Okay. There's Kyle. How are you? People have spent over 1 million buying virtual cats. Oh, really? Yeah, when it was first out, it was like $20 for even the most basic of cats. And I was like, no thanks. And I don't think they're worth that much now. So you would be underwater, but they haven't, completely disappeared in value either. Okay, so it's interesting. It was a very bullish number, and there was some very bullish action off of it, but it continues to struggle a little bit. Hmm. Hmm. Now, one answer could be that there probably is some profit taking up in here. Do you think that the futures will hit 4,000? Because didn't the actual index already touch it? At least all of the news was reporting that it touched it. So there's a big order on the offer dancing around. It's kind of hard to see, but they're stacking like 160 on the inside offer. And then pulling it and moving it. Okay. Looks like somebody slammed into him. Was like somebody was like, stop that, stop. And then we just bought 300 contracts so that it would slip through. So I do see there's a good amount of bullishness here. But it continues to be tight. And the up moves are very grindy. And you've still got this big offer. So somebody did slam him. Well, and they just did it there again. And when he showed back up. That interesting.
Block buy.
Tomorrow's Good Friday with your stream. And well, of course, live stream because we got non-farms payrolls tomorrow. And yeah, we just do regular Easter. We don't have all of the kids this time, so I don't know what we'll do. And I think that my wife is actually working on Sunday, so she has a local that day. Which really sucks, but just is what it is right now. No, it's not. Well, I don't think that anybody considers it a Friday, a holiday. Okay, so that's a pretty good move up there. Didn't fill me, but yeah, I don't think that any of the CME or any of those are considering it a holiday. Cool. A little bit of a stop run slip up there. It is just like tons of orders crashing into that. Oh, now, do you see that? Whew. Well, I don't want to mess with that kind of volatility, so I'm going to get out. I got 50 off of that. 47 and a half. I should put it one more tick higher. I'm still a little bit concerned by what I view as indications of informed trading on the sell side. Have some people saying that they're having issues with CQG today. I don't know. Maybe I should have held that one up to the higher target. I kind of wish that I did. But I made the goal. I don't know. That trade worked out pretty well. I did use multiple contracts on it. I wish that I had only used 2 contracts on it, but to have gotten a better price. Because I got 87 in the end, but my initial entry was like at 89, so. Yeah, it's looking like pretty good push higher on the long side. We could have held it to 4. Okay, there's a little bit of absorption there, but I bet you. Oh, and see there, it's there again. And that's not just like polling either. It's like somebody is selling it. I mean, the overall market doesn't seem to care, so I think it was probably okay to be in a buy, but it's really odd. And there's a little battle there that the buyers like swept through. Pretty aggressive. I'd say we have pretty good looking uptrend. I don't know if you can just straight up buy it at 39.93 or not, unfortunately. I kind of feel like it would be great to be long still. You gotta play with momentum. Well, it's all about risk reward, right? Something's still selling. I don't think that can't just be a game. I mean, they're actively market selling through. Didn't even see that one on the chart, but it definitely happened. Like if this falls apart and goes back below the open and turns into a dumpster fire down day, you're gonna look at that sell order and be like, see, there was some informed trading there and everybody ignored it. Rabobank asks, is 2.25 trillion even that much money anymore? Too much black box algo funding. I don't know. Like that kind of a sweep is not something I see every day, right? It was something that I saw yesterday, but it is not something that I see every day. What? Green Giant and Peeps partnered to introduce a limited edition cauliflower flavored marshmallow bunnies. Oh, because it's April Fool's Day. Good grief. That large seller has been sweeping prices for like 2 months straight. I mean, I haven't noticed it for 2 months. I definitely noticing it today, and we saw some of it yesterday too, right? I mean, the last time I really remember seeing it, there was some downside on that day, but it was like the buyers pushed through them, and then later in the day they sold. So I kind of thought, well, maybe the person that's selling is somebody that has to do some rebalancing flows or something, you know? That's kind of what I thought. But now here, April, seems like that the main driver behind the markets right now is their desire to touch 4,000. But something's coming in sweep selling from time to time. It's just odd. I suppose it could be profit taking, but for whatever reason, well, you know, the other thing is the first time that it happened, the market definitely reacted to it, right? But then when we ended up moving higher, and now it's happened like 3 or 4 times, and each time that it happens, it's less, and the market reacts to it less. To the point where on that last one, they didn't really do anything at all. One thing I know is they do not seem to be that price sensitive. They can sell it and it will just keep going up and they will just sell more. Yeah. But that's kind of why I say that, like, maybe it's profit taking. I don't know why you would want to profit take like that, but whatever. And maybe they've been able to do it multiple times because they've been able to build up a position and then sell it multiple times. I don't know. Seems like an excessively noisy way to do a trade, you know? Strange, though, that they're not hiding it. Yeah, it is weird. I agree, it's weird. But you know what? Buyers aren't deterred at the moment. ISM responded, tremendous stress on the supply chain since the winter storm in Texas. Chemicals are on allocations or unavailable. Resin is on allocation and unavailable. Oy. Philly beats and long time no say. I mean, it's been long enough that I don't really remember the name, to be honest with you. HF says, or is it manipulating the order flow? Well, yeah. So that's kind of the thing, is like, because it is like a market sell sweep of sorts. You're talking about something that's coming in and picking up some, 600 contracts all at one time. So if that's just to manipulate the market, I how is it, The only way that would make sense at all to me would be if you were really long and you wanted that sell sweep to induce other people to sell so that you could buy it, We're also up by 5,000% since the financial crisis. There's probably someone who will soon take profit. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there are definitely some swing traders and others of that nature taking profits at ahead of 4,000 for sure. Well, they sold down there a little bit. Didn't take much volume to do it. That was a little interesting. These are all like little tiny things, so like it could completely change even while I'm saying this, but I'm noticing there's a little bit of a turn there. Yeah, it's actually turning into a more significant turn. It's actually the strongest sell candle since the 8 o'clock news. Oh, it has a Pokemon cards channel? Dude, I saw this video the other day on TikTok where this guy opened up a pack, and it was a god pack and it had 2 Charizards in it. So like every card was a holographic card and there was 2 Charizards in it. I was like, what? I don't follow cards, and even I know that's like insane. In this interview, Biden repeats a Fort Pinocchio claim about the new Georgia law. You are going to go close a polling place at 5 o'clock when working folks just get up? Nope, that's not in the law. And here's the fact check. He said that. Wait, what? From the Hill, the Swiss Army to start allowing female soldiers to wear women's underwear for the first time. Okay. Not a headline I was expecting to see today. Is that really the thing, huh? Well, they moved back up there. I think we should reset the DOM. There is a little slight low liquidity area there, but they don't seem to be too bothered by it right now. Let's check on our algos. Did Gabby take any of those trades? No, she did not. They never went low enough for her to buy. Brandon took a long and is doing okay. And the two J's are offsetting each other today. Remember when we were in the depths of the crisis in 2020 and they proposed a trillion-dollar stimulus plan? And I was like, is that really necessary? This is insane. That is a really big number. And now they're throwing around 2 trillion daily? Like, oh, this is so crazy. Where we are now compared to a year ago is just like, whoa. Okay, so they came back down again in this spot. Actually, a little lower, in fact. Also seeing a bounce in the dollar here, back above 93. Bounced up really easily. Offers just pulled out of the way on that one. I like the overlay on the minute chart, asks Eduardo Vaquez. So I have a video called Trading Multiple Timeframes, and I have the indicator and I explain how I set it up in there. But basically what I've done is I have multiple data series overlaid on top of each other in the same chart, is how I'm doing that. So it's not an indicator, it's another data series. And I just have a different bar chart type that kind of draws the candlesticks with these boxes around them like that, instead of as tails. And has opacity settings and stuff. It's kind of nice, right? Because then you can go in and you can see what the 5-minute chart would be telling you, but you can also see where the quantization error comes into it. Sounds like they're still doing OPEX. Oh, you see the treasury gap up there? I'm getting news from OPEC Plus that the members support a 1-month rollover. Well, they've had trouble here getting a new high. Not too much, but People in Discord asking how high we could get today. Oh, am I getting sleepy? Wake up, Seth. No, that's not the one. The one that trading multiple time frames. All the time frames one is the one that Eduardo needs to look at. That data structures one, unless he wants to program, is something totally different. Are we gonna get oil stocks here in a second? Oh no, there's a bill auction at 9:30. Oh, this is the natural gas stocks. I see. Gotcha. Thank you for the quick response. I've been using footprint charts to find good areas to place orders to minimize adverse excursion. Oh, that's interesting. So, what is it about the footprint chart that you believe allows you to do that compared to just, say, a volume profile, for instance? Or are you looking for like areas of absorption or something? I mean, I have a lot of things that are intended to reduce the adverse excursion against you, but wouldn't say they always work. That's the one. Yep, that's the video that he needs to watch. And the download is in the Discord. They gonna make me just FOMO in here at 96, man. I missed a good 5 points. I think, well, I did 91.50, and I think that my order was somewhere up here 98, so. And there's the, I should be pushing that stuff more often. I have, and so the histograms that I have and my inventory cost basis are a big part of how I trade. And you can download those at speculatorseth.com and try them for free. And it's a 2-week trial. And then after that, you have to be subscribed to the YouTube channel. So you click the join button down below and get the elite membership. And then I will activate the indicator package for you. So if you're interested in that, the big one is the inventory cost basis. These other ones are kind of more for algorithms and stuff. In fact, I may be considering taking these ones off of this chart because I don't watch them so much. But I have them on this other one as well. If you take the camera off, you can see that other chart, and I have those, and that's a robot. Robots are using those. I look for areas with low volume within the bar. I also have volume profiles on each bar to get a visual. Okay, I get you. Yeah. I think that looking for areas of low latent liquidity is important. I don't necessarily think that they will improve your adverse excursion per se, so much as it is that you kind of get an idea of a place that under certain circumstances they will just push right through. And so you're much less likely to get adverse excursion because if you get in with a little bit of momentum, it's just going to go right through it, right? Made an indicator that shows areas where price moves quickly. Yeah, Kyle, adverse excursion. So what that means is if I were to enter at $39.95, and if I were to buy at $39.95, and then it went down to $39.94, that would be 4 ticks of adverse excursion. So it basically tells you, okay, maybe you made money on that trade, but it did go 4 ticks against you. And what you want to do is you want to minimize adverse excursion and you want to maximize favorable excursion. So favorable excursion kind of gives you a better idea of like how good your exit was. Like I get in at 95 and it goes up to 4,000, but then I let it come all the way back to 96 and only make 4 ticks on it. Then you could see that in the favorable excursion that there's a big difference. What'd you get here? Stick. Do they have something unique in oh. High MAE means you entered too early. I guess that's one way of looking at it. But yeah, high MFE compared to your win means that you got out too late. See, this article that you're posting is saying, if you get in where the clusters are, then you're less likely to have the adverse excursion. But I would say that's not true. There's definitely, if you watch the chart, it will sure seem like they always bounce off of those, but it's not strictly true. The problem is that when it goes through them, it kind of doesn't stand out as much to you on the chart. Found an educator in Brazil that claims to make swing trades without a stop loss. Well, then he's stupid. To be frank. To be frank. I just can't imagine anybody wanting to trade futures without a stop loss. It seems like just really dumb. 99% win rate. Oh my gosh, he's that you're gonna find that a lot though, Kyle. Like if you, so the whole thing is like you can come out and you can trade like I do and show it live, and you're going to be wrong a lot, and a lot of the time you're going to look retarded and stupid. And if you are trying to sell a course and your main thing here is I want to sell my course or my indicator package and that's how I'm going to make a living, then that's a real problem, right? Because people don't buy it if half of the time you're trading you look stupid. So they'll always do things to make it look like they're winning all the time, right? What is it? What are you April fooling me about, Stick? Oh my god. Anyways. Oh, that's your broker wants you to think. Never stop yourself out. Make your broker pay for your loss. Yeah. You gave me a link. That's all in Portuguese. Wait, what are these? Nama Jonas? Is that like the month? Or are those traders? Resultados. Well, they do have a year's worth in there, so that's not terrible. But it looks to me like what they're doing is they're taking on excessive risk to do it. Let's see here. How do I change it to be in English? Just click to change language. Where do I click to change language? Oh. Gotcha. Okay, there you go. So they're claiming this guy made $790,000. I don't believe it. Are those confirmed to be live accounts? What does that mean? Yep. Oh, his worst trade was only 130. These are not realistic results. These are not realistic results. There's no way. The Sharpe ratio is okay too. That's funny. Profit factor of 69. When there's no fucking way. See, you're not going to see drawdowns, but like, what was the MA, MFE, MAE? Oh, wow. So there was a couple that they really allowed to go against them. That went negative 6,000 against him. This one was negative 9,000 against him. And his best, oh my God. Oh my gosh. Oh. Okay, so his best trade was $500. But he had a trade that he allowed to go against him almost $10,000. And he is just lucky. No, but how come? But he never had one that actually really stopped out all the way. This guy is really effing lucky. You imagine letting it go 10K against you? Like here's the thing. Is this one right here? If that had just gone all the way out, then had really, like, the broker took him out of it, the account would just be gone, right? Potentially. I guess his account is large enough that he can probably take a huge loss like that, but it does look like that the way that they're doing it is just by taking on a lot of risk. But it is the issue is like, okay, could you afford a $7,000 loss? I couldn't. Definitely couldn't. Right? So even if these are real results, most retail traders are going to be unable to duplicate them. But in this video, I just linked all the curves go to 0. How you will go bust on a favorable bet. Yeah. Oh, this is on Taleb's probability mocks? Is this Taleb talking? Oh, well, I'm going to have to watch that one. I'll save that one. Okay, click to the next ones. What you want me to do this one? English. Hooey. Oh, look at that. Oh my gosh, that's so retarded. This is like a $4,000 loss. So you make $500. But that ended up being their best trade, too. That's hilarious. Oh, man. Yeah. Well, it's, when people say it's all about risk management, it really is, because you got a stock and it's going up. It's going to be easier to make money on it. It's just like right now, everybody's making money. Okay. Because the market's going up. No duh. So then you have to go back to, well, what are the risks associated with it? So if they're making money, are they making money with taking less risks? That's the real thing, right? Is if you're able to take information that the market doesn't have, right? Or that the market hasn't factored in, and you can use that to reduce your risk. And that's how you're able to get better risk-adjusted returns. It's the only way, as far as I can tell, that's the only way to get better risk-adjusted returns. But there is money in risk. The more risk you take on, the more money you can potentially take. So going in and having a really wide stop, yeah, you can make money doing that. And you're going to see a lot of people successfully show you doing that on YouTube and other places. But then what's going to happen is you're going to try doing it, and you will have a tiny account and you will bust. And a large number of people. So I give you an example. There's this documentary about floor traders on the CME that CNBC did. And there's this guy in that is like, people don't understand. If you're down, just add more. And if you're winning, just let it ride, right? This guy had this huge mansion and everything. How did he do that? He was taking on excessive risk, and eventually he had one go against him, and that's why I guess he stopped trading. And you looked at his life and everything else, like his life, because he was like just plastered in the interview. This guy was reckless, right? You can make a lot of money taking on risk, but chances are is going to catch up to you. And if you are, regular old retail trader without, that can't just piss off thousands of dollars every day, taking on that kind of risk is not for you. Right? Why will you go bust? Because there will be a few times when you're going to lose everything. There you go. He has his own broker and his students trade his money. I think he splits like $1 million into various accounts, and when one just go pretty bad drawdown, they just don't show. It's MQL5. Martingale betting strategy, you always lose eventually. Yeah. Well, but that's where it's kind of like you can use what you know about the market to your advantage to reduce the risk. So like, I wouldn't say that a trade that takes on twice as much risk as it makes is a naturally bad strategy. If you're able to manage the risk, right? And so the thing that I criticize so harshly is that there are so many people out there trading strategies like that, when you're trading it like that, I really think that the only thing that matters at that point is your ability to manage the risk. And they fail dismally at it over and over and over again. Like this happens to people. And, like one thing that you can do in a situation like that is you can have a hard stop, like most of these combines, there's a daily risk limit, right? And there's a drawdown limit. Yeah. So that means that, if you're, but at the same time, if that's what you're going to do, you're not going to have like a 99% win rate, are you? No. You're going to have a more reasonable win rate because the number of situations where you really need to cut it off, like right now, is going to happen more than that. So you could have what I would rather see is, you have a high win rate above 50%, but your losers are also, limited. Tommy, if you're posting a link, I probably can't see it. Are you talking, but I'm going to take a guess. You're talking about that strategy out there that will like disable all of your strategies if you hit your daily account limit? So I've seen that. I keep saying I'm going to make a risk management center for Ninja Trader, and then I never do it. I kind of started and I got into it, and I have all the pieces, and I've just never bothered to do it because I don't really trade it through Ninja Trader. They trade currencies. The guy believes currencies are always cyclical, so it eventually will get back to your price. Well, don't he know about the Swiss franc crash? Well, that's interesting that could be an edge in currencies that I'm not aware of, that they are very cyclical and on, certain weekly or daily time frames, and that they have a tendency to come back to where you were. I don't know. Well, everything, all prices are martingales, which kind of suggests that it will come back. That's the funny thing about it. Oh, is this image that V-Trades posted, that messaged to me? I kind of forgot about that. Putting my own indicator on the thing would be beneficial. No, if you post a link in YouTube, it won't show me, Tommy. You'd have to put spaces around the periods and stuff. Well, it keeps. I mean, the trend has continued to be up, but we've been between around 95 now for almost an hour. I'd say probably more like 40 minutes. If you write down a title, you can grab it. I will link it here for you. Yeah, well, just tell me what it's called. Is it on the Ninja Trader ecosystem website? What website is this on? If you write a title down that I can grab for you. So I'm assuming that you're talking about this thing that's on the user app share. Show all Ninja Trader 8 strategies. Account equity guard. Is that what you're talking about? Well, that was a pretty good excursion down. And there was a good amount of volume on it too. What do you know? Am I vindicated in being wary about this and not wanting to get in long? Let's see if there's anything new. I go through this on a regular basis. Hasn't been any strategies added in quite a while. Price info indicator. That's a new one. Three pole Butterworth, I think I've looked at. What's this? Price info displays information about the instrument and the current position for the instrument and account. Cool. So, not all that special, but nice. Nice to have out there, I suppose. ROCWB indicator is detailed in the March 2021 Technical Analysis of Stocks and Commodities article, Overbought, Oversold, Rate of Change with Bands by Vitaly Albarny. Okay. Interesting. Worth investigating. Oops. Download that one. Okay, so it did come down really hard and they've reversed back up again. Pierre says, bring back Ace. Well, I can't make him come back. Here's the thing. Like, well, so first of all, I've been a little bit mean to him lately, right? Because first we were having that whole thing about how to verify things. But then I was also kind of going through the like, well, here's why I don't just like straight up trade what you say to do. And then I kind of jumped on him when he was joking around about, well, you should be trading my signal. Because that's like, I don't think that, and like, I'm just giving you guys all a piece of advice. Maybe I'm wrong, but from everything that I've looked at, it's a bad idea to ever do anything that would have the appearance of trying to induce somebody to make a trade. All right. You know, saying you should follow my trade is a bad idea. And I would appreciate it if you guys don't try and do that here. Like I would point out, you could point out your own trades and you can point out things that you're noticing in the markets. That's useful. That stuff tends to, you put that in Discord. That's really what Discord is for. And YouTube is kind of more just for fun. But, you know, but don't ever post something that somebody could come back and say, well, I wouldn't have taken that trade if this person hadn't told me that it was a good, you know, that it was a good idea and that I should do it. Right. So don't ever try to induce people to take a trade. So I jumped all over him for that. So I'm not quite sure why he's reacting to that the way that he is, assuming that he really is. And it sounds like he is mad about it. So every little like thing in me is going like, oh no, we have to do something, and like beg him to come back and all of these things. But I've been through that, and I've kind of learned that that's not a good situation to be in. So my perspective is, and it's the same thing with Gary, because, you know, I don't know why Gary was getting so freaking triggered by what I was saying, but it seemed to me like it was a situation where it was probably better that he's just not interacting, because I was making him behave irrationally, I think. You know, so this is where it's like, okay, if you feel like you should go, or that you want the space or something, then do it. Because everything in me wants to like go, well, please don't go. But I've done it, and I know that it's a bad idea, you know? So he comes back, and we will be happy to have him. And because I don't feel like I did anything wrong. I don't feel like he did anything wrong. So it's whatever. And if you're concerned about him, he did leave his email, so you can message him if you still want to talk to him. I'm surprised that he hasn't ever tried to go and make his own stream. I know that he's done that for other people, and I think that he would probably do well with it. And I would be all 100% on board with that if that's what he did. Let's get the SWAT. No. We're all clever enough. He will come back. I don't know. He might just be thinking, you know, I haven't really enjoyed your content lately because you've talked about subjects that I didn't like, or were joking around with things that I didn't really find funny, which, you know, that's fine too. Because for me, from my perspective, I look at this and I'm like, I've been doing okay. I've been sim trading, but I've been doing okay, right? I've had a couple of days where I took on excessive risk to equal out losses, right? Which I'm not comfortable with. And when I'm doing that, that's kind of one of the big reasons why I'm still really hesitant to put my own money at risk, right? And so I'm continuing looking at things that are like, you know, investigating things that I can use to improve the trading and find more edge. And I'm always like, oh my gosh, yesterday, I looked at so much shit. So the Journal of Financial Markets was out yesterday, and there was 3 articles that had information that I would say is pertinent to day trading in us, right? One of them was that somebody has put together an algorithm that will give you a slightly more accurate cumulative delta number. It wouldn't be enough to make a difference to any of us, but it was really interesting. And it kind of showed you with the situations, you know, I've talked about where when it can get really fast, there are some spots where you don't necessarily know whether an order was a buy or a sell, and it can get screwed up a little bit, right? Well, this guy, he's dealt with that, and it was a really well put together paper, and it even has Python code in it. I sent it off to Peter. We'll see if Peter says anything about it. But it was really good. There was another article where the researchers were able to get their hands on some data from a retail broker and a couple of other places, and they were able to quantify noise trading in the markets. So that one was really interesting too, because some of these other models that we've got, like the Kyle model, if you can quantify what the noise traders are, you can make the model more accurate, right? And there was another one. What was the other one that I read? It was a little bit more of I could turn this into an indicator. What was it? I think it was this one, but what was the title? Oh, that's something else. No. Noise incarnate in trading directions. I guess. Oh no, it's this one right here. No, it's not this one. This is something else altogether too. This one is Benford's Law. Well, anyways, maybe it was just those two. And then I also did some backtesting and looked at a couple of different things. Oh my gosh. So that was a good push up through 4,000. So I could have held it the whole time. I guess the sell order was not a big deal and just scared me out for no reason. And this choppiness is something that I could have just ignored. Although, when we said that it came back and I was like, well, am I vindicated? I was also thinking at the time, yes, but this might also be the time to buy. Look at how it just got right up there. No problem that time. Very quickly. It was a 10-point move in less than 10 minutes. It was a pretty strong move up, wasn't it? 99% win rate guy kind of inspired me to do something. I can predict pretty good moves in euros, but at times you just get stopped out before the big move. What if I did a straddle, though? Risk would be time decay based instead of directionally based. Yeah. That's exactly the way to do it, Kyle, for sure. There are some additional risks associated with that when you are doing options. For instance, there can be situations where one side of your straddle gets executed and not the other side, especially aftermarket. So you got to be really careful with those. Where can I read those papers? They were all just off of SSRN. What I do is I'll go to the Journal of Financial Markets, which I forget what their page is, but you search for it, you find it, and then there will be the title of the paper. And where the Journal of Financial Markets gets published, you have to pay to download it. But a good percentage of the time, especially if it's a brand new one, you can go and just search the internet and you'll find it, often on SSRN, but sometimes it will be on the author's own internal page. And yeah. It's a long straddle, so I decide when to exercise. Yeah, but what I'm talking about is more like you hold it into the expiration and it happens after hours and stuff. So I remember one person, there was like a earnings like right at the end, and it was aftermarket, and like one side of their straddle got executed because it was aftermarket, and it was like the close of it, of that expiration. And then only one side got, and it was a straddle. Anyways. But, using options to make your risk to be time-based instead of price-based is for sure a great way of doing it. Say, I think it's going to happen in a certain amount of time. That is, if you have an edge that actually will tell you how long it should be for something to happen. Oh, I see. You got to pick some far expiration, not weeklies then. But I'm talking new days when trade not a move that will last for, yeah. If I'm not able to find it, can I? Yeah. So I downloaded all of these legally off the internet. So if you can't find, which one do you want? I just search for it. Which one is it that you want? The noise one. Oh, you want both of those? Okay. Because I'm pretty sure. that I got the noise one from the author's website, and it was kind of messed up. Okay, noise incarnate. So here's the guy's website, and the Google document. Oh, here it is right here. No, that's not the one that I downloaded, though. It was Daniel Schmidt's actual website. Well, that is it. I don't know if that was like the final paper, but... So there's that one. It may not be the actual, like, final paper sometimes. What browser is that? It's a Brave browser. So it does use Chrome for its rendering engine, but it's much better with privacy, right? Okay, inferring trade directions and fast markets. And here it is on SSRN. So here on SSRN, you can download it. So what I found is that if it's like an older paper, then SSRN will often want you to pay for it. But kind of what happens is they put it on SSRN first, and then, you know, it waits. So here you see Bank of England working paper. So this got published in the Journal of Financial Markets, but this hasn't happened yet, right? What's this? I don't think I've used that website. Let's see. Oh, it's a piracy website for research papers. Well, that's interesting. No, I had no idea that anything like that even existed. Oh, that's funny. Wow. I've never really had to do that. like the thing is that even if you don't oh man, by the way, what's going on in here? Okay, yeah, we need to reset that. Even if it's like not available on SSRN and you can't find it anywhere on Google, you can just like email the guy and sometimes they'll send it to you. What was that one that I had? That was like stop strategies. Remember that? You know, I think I need to go back and read Mammoth again on the nature of risk. Yeah, there was this one. They never sent it to me. I was kind of mad. He like called me and then he didn't send it to me. I was like, why? Probably forgot. Why does this say that you need an extension to search? Yeah, on Sci-Hub. I tried doing a search just to see if it would even show up, but it didn't. Stick says not for me. You need SSRN number. Oh, there you go. Oh, so you're saying that you put in the SSRN number and then it will give it to you? This one, where did we find it? Because I don't think that this one is on SSRN. Yeah. It was from the Journal of Trading. From PMR Research. Which means you need PMR Research to get it. And there's this other, what's this other link? Yeah, it just goes to the same page. So I think the only way to get that one is to get that from the Journal of Trading. Well, how about this? What if we go to SSRN? Stop loss. Taming momentum crashes, a simple stop loss strategy. Hey. A closed form solution for optimal mean reverting trading strategies. What the hell? I have no clue what that means. Optimal mean reversion trading with transaction costs and stop loss exit. Examining the hidden costs of the stop loss. Oh, do Ishimoku cloud charts work, and do they work better in Japan? Wait. I have to read this. This article explores the profitability of signals generated using Ishimoku cloud charts on single stocks in Japan and the United States. We construct a conservative and aggressive long-only and short-only strategy over a period from 2005 to 2014 and examine the profitability of the various strategies. Based on the simulation, we evaluate the ability of Ishimoku cloud charts to generate profitable trading signals in these two markets. In addition, we propose that the cloud chart exhibits characteristics of a momentum and breakout strategy with returns that are positively skewed and with a small left tail due to the natural stop loss built into such a strategy. Hey. Dude, so here's the funny thing about it is they ain't saying that it don't work. Download this paper. Look, hey. See? How often on SSRN is it just available, right? This one is Ishimoku. I'm probably not spelling that right. Documents. And I put all of my scholarly articles here. Okay. You can close this, and now we'll open it up. All right. Oh, this is a short one. Conclusion. In this study, we present evidence of the ability of Ishimoku cloud charts to generate profitable signals in single stocks in the United States and Japan. Okay. I'm going to bet you that when we do it on the index, it's not going to be very good. This effect appears to be fairly persistent, and the return profiles of such trading strategy exhibit a positive skew with a small left tail consistent with the characteristics of other trend-following strategies. Gotcha. Which means that it can make money, but it's not on a risk-adjusted basis because of the left tail. When we compare the performance in the United States versus the performance in Japan, we find little evidence for the tool working better in one market. The continued ability of the cloud charts to generate profitable trading signals is probably a key reason this tool has remained popular amongst technical analysts decades after these concepts were first proposed. Through this study, we have provided some empirical evidence for the characteristics of the information provided and would encourage further empirical work on other signals that could be generated from the charts as well. Okay, so that's enough to make me want to go and backtest the Ishimoku cloud. Who we got here? Where did I put it? To backtest. And so I already did this one. I would like to find more harmonic indicators to do. Oh, I think I did that VWAP Z-score one. Okay, what did you got here? Stickball. This paper focuses on the role of technical analysis in signal. I think I've read that one before, actually. That sounds familiar. Like, I don't think I read it, but I read the abstract. It is found that member firms of Singapore Stock Exchange tend to enjoy substantial profits by applying technical indicators. This could be the reason why most member firms do have their own trading teams that rely heavily on technical analysis. Really? Oh, they're using moving average and RSI. This one I don't see a download. Get access. But all they're saying is using moving average and a relative strength index. Like, I've backtested those and they don't work on the S&P 500. In fact, I've made a pretty compelling backtest that shows that you can make money trading against the RSI. Oh, here you go. Hey, oh, I gotcha. Don't let Google see that. Oh, that's interesting. Well, so one thing is they're doing it on a daily basis, not intraday. Single moving averages produce the best results, followed by dual moving average and a relative strength index using the 50 crossover method. Oh, they're not doing the 30 and 70. They're doing the 50 crossover like John is doing right now. Also sounds like that. They're just using it to time their entries, and so they still have fundamental reasons to believe that they want to be in something, right? Which I think is fair. Like, that's the way that I would approach a CTA strategy, right? So I would say, I think that silver is going to go up because of inflation that is the Federal Reserve is expecting to see later in the year, and that many people are concerned will lead to excessive inflation, as we're already seeing increases in asset prices. And as such, I want to wait for it to have a certain amount of positive momentum on the upside here as it's bottoming out, to time my entry into silver. And that's how I'd approach it, right? And so like if silver was to come up above a moving average here, or was to have another day higher, which, you know what, gold and silver doing pretty good today, could maybe trigger me long into going long silver, right? This is in Singapore. Oh yeah, this is another good point. It may be an underdeveloped market. Examining the hidden implications of stop loss, we present general implications of the impact of stop losses to future returns. The use of stop loss change return distributions, but not in the way that one would typically expect. We find that while stop losses can reduce position volatility, hidden costs offset perceived benefits in terms of altering future returns. Use of both stop losses and profit-taking stops, separately or in conjunction, offer no statistically significant difference in expected return, but have a meaningful impact in returns with drift as the expected return converges to that of the underlying. Well, so they're not saying don't use a stop loss. They're just saying doesn't really help your risk the way that you might say. In this paper, we propose a stop-loss strategy to limit the downside risk of the well-known momentum strategy. A stop level of 10% we find with data from January 9th that the maximum monthly losses of the equal and evaluated momentum strategies go down from negative 49% to negative 11%. While the Sharpe ratios are more than doubled at the same time, we also provide general equilibrium model of stop-loss traders and non-stop traders and show that the market price differs from the price in the case of no stop-loss traders by a barrier option. Move this window out like that. So that one suggests you should use a stop. When prices reflect all available information, they oscillate around an equilibrium level. This oscillation is the result of temporary market impact caused by waves of buyers and sellers. This price behavior can be approximated through an Ornstein-Uhlenbeck process. Never heard of that. A process is a stochastic process with applications in financial mathematics. Its original application for Brownian motion particle under the influence of friction. Okay. Process tends to drift towards its mean function. Such a process is called mean reverting. Okay. So it's a model to explain Brownian motion that's mean reverting. Oops, which one? Where did it go? Market makers provide liquidity in an attempt to monetize this oscillation. They enter the long position when the security is priced below its equivalent. They enter short when the security is priced above. They hold the position until one of three outcomes occur. They achieve their target, they hit the loss, or the position is held beyond maximum tolerated horizon. So there's the thing is that you exit out of the trade if it's been too long, right? They have the 2021 journal. I'm sure that they do. But all of those articles that I thought were applicable to us were free on SSRN anyways. So I haven't had to do, I would just pay for it. Would not encourage anybody to do that. It's interesting that it exists, but I don't think you need to do it. A lot of the time, the thing that you really want to know is in the abstract anyways, right? All market makers are confronted with the problem of defining risk, profit-taking, and stop-out levels. More generally, all execution traders holding a particular position for a client must determine at what levels an order must be filled. Those optimal levels can be determined by maximizing the trader's Sharpe ratio in the context of an OU process via Monte Carlo experiments. This paper develops an analytical framework and derives those optimal levels by using the method of heat potentials. Worth looking at. I could pay for it. Well, even if you had to pay for them, so for the whole Journal of Financial Markets, it's like $1,000 a year or something like that. But a lot of these you can just get like $35 or something. So like one article. Optimal trading stops and algorithmic trading, that might be more like what we're looking for. The value of stop loss strategies. Optimal trading rules without backtesting, what would that be? Optimal trading with a trailing stop, because I've never been able to get a trailing stop to work. Deliveroo's IPO slump cast out over London post-Brexit ambitions. The bottom of the hour. Markets. So let's just change today's title to markets. S&P-500 touches 4,000. That's going to be today's title. You can click with your scroll wheel to open them in new tabs. Well, I usually just hold the control key, but anyways. But I'm being lazy. My hand's over here. Trading stops are often used by traders to manage their positions. In this note, we show how to derive optimal trading stops for generic algorithmic trading strategies when the P&L of the position is modeled by a Markov modulated diffusion. Optimal stop levels are derived by maximizing the expected discounted utility of the P&L. The approach is independent of the signal used to enter the position. We analyze in details the case of trading signals with a limited random life. We show how to calibrate the model to market data and present a series of numerical examples to illustrate the main features of this approach. So that sounds like something that we could use, but it's complicated. Yeah, but these findings suggest that the value of stop loss strategies may come largely from risk reduction rather than return improvement. That's what I would expect, based on my own findings. Here's another one about this Holstein-Ullmann process. Or was that the one that we already read? No, it's not. A trailing stop is popular by which the investor will sell the asset once its price experiences a specified percentage drawdown. In this paper, we study the problem of timing to buy and then sell an asset subject to a trailing stop. Yes, this is one that I've had such a hard time with. Under general linear diffusion framework, we study an optimal double stopping problem with a random path dependent maturity. Specifically, we first derive the optimal liquidation strategy prior to a given trailing stop and prove the optimality of using a sell limit order in conjunction with the trailing stop. Our analytic results for the liquidation problem is then used to solve for the optimal strategy to acquire the asset and simultaneously initiate the trailing stop. The method of solution also lends itself to an efficient numerical method for computing the optimal acquisition and liquidation regions. For an illustration, we implement the example and conduct a sensitivity analysis under the exponential Ornstein-Uhlenbeck model. So I've got to study this Ornstein-Uhlenbeck model thing because all of these articles about stop losses are talking about it, and I never heard of it before. Well, anyways, how do we do? I only took one trade. Should have been way more. Like, look, I got at in 91. I could have gotten 4, so I could have gotten a whole more, let's see here, a whole another $50 from it, right? I like that advanced stuff. Yeah, sometimes it'll just go over my head, or it'll be so advanced that like it seems like I can't actually apply it, but then maybe it actually can. And especially when they start talking about Brownian motion, that's when it starts to get into stuff where it's like I'm not 100% sure how to apply it. Anyways, and then my robots, what the robots do. Well, Gabby never took a trade. Brandon did get his target, his $400 target, so that's great. And J2 at one point was profitable, but in the end, he's ending up just a little bit down. I'm probably going to let them trade throughout the day more. I think that J2 is generally better, but I think that J2 probably works a little bit better when we're in trending market. So I might want to go in and try to switch between the two based on the trend. And Winston found something on it. Well, that's what I'm going to have to look at. Wait, where did my little, where'd my notebook go? Stop loss with, how do we call it? Ornstein Uhlenbeck processes. I should go back and look at the VWAP score thing because I swear I did a strategy with that. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I just put it on a chart and thought, oh, it was great. How are these bots work? Are they high frequency trading? Well, I don't know if anything that I do could really be considered high frequency trading because I don't have the connection for it, but they do trade quite a bit. So this one right here, he's probably taken like 20 trades today. Oh, yeah, actually he only took 6. Well, the better one trades a lot less. This one will take more. That one is, this is 9. So neither of them traded a ton today. I didn't have it turned on the whole session though, so that's probably why I'm disappointed in that. This one, I would kind of consider it a swing strategy actually. So we should look at him. He's in sim beta. I don't think that he's been doing great lately. I can come in here and do trade performance and only look at the sim beta one. Overall, I know that they're going to be losers. Like this, the HFT one is going to be a loser. The sim pro is actually up. Yeah, it's actually up even more than that because it took a $500 loss because I screwed the strategy up. So she's actually up $500. But here's sim beta, and I don't know how far back I should be going. Because some of these might be, if I come in here and show the, well, okay. 25th. I think that I can go back further than the 25th. Let's just go back to the 15th. So there was a period where it was doing really dismal. Yeah. And I don't remember when I changed like the names of them all and stuff. But there was this day, the 25th, where it just did so poorly. But that's like actually a reasonable drawdown for that strategy. So this one probably will still come out positive. Do you know Lizard? Yeah, I use the Lizard. I own the Lizard indicators. And I've gone through just about every one of those, man. Oh my gosh. I'm bored, to be honest. I go, like I do all this work, and then I come out and I'm like, well, I don't know if I'm really any better. And I'm just constantly trying to find something new. And that's also why I kind of picked up the Steve thing, because I was like, well, like I'm a little tired. I feel like I've shared most of the stuff that I really, really wanted to share on this channel. I still have a bunch of videos to make, but I'm not getting the opportunity to make those with the baby right now, and it might be a while. So that's why I was like, well, let's do the Steve parody, because I want to be able to pour something into something that's not just, me investing in doing well at trading, you know, because I feel like I'm getting bored, you know, trying to find an edge with technical indicators in trading. And, you know, I don't know what I can do next to improve my edge the other side. Yeah, I think, I didn't do anything with Steve, but you got to go and find him on Instagram. I got a little bit of time here. Hold on a second. This might be a little loud.
So Dylan here wants to know how to get those sweet gains from day trading that I've been showing you guys here on TikTok. So here's the thing, Dylan, write this one down. Here's the big secret. Don't think for yourself, all right? All you got to do, there's that plus button right there. Just click that plus button and Steve will tell you what to do, all right? You don't have to understand fundamentals or anything about the markets. Just follow Steve. Guys, this is easy. You can't lose, all right? And remember, don't be poor. So this
So that was Steve. I'm not sure what I'm going to do today. I have a couple of ideas of what I'm going to do today, but link it. Here's Steve on TikTok. So go find Steve on TikTok and leave comments on him, and leave comments like that. You've become millionaires from trading with him, and ask him which, you know, about individual stocks. And just remember, it's all a parody, right? I got to be careful about it. Like, anytime that I talk about an individual security, I'm going to have a disclaimer on it. Yeah. I think I'm getting a little bit better at the accent, too. But yeah, I think half of the fun is people comment on it and then to respond to their comments, you know, that's kind of like the improv portion of it. And it's like, okay, so what are the problems that people normally have? And what does the shitbag stock guru say to them? Right. So go and leave comments on it. It'll be fun. Anyways, it's time for me to go. Yeah. And it's not like, the thing is, I'm never going to give up on trading. Like, I'm always going to be in this, and I'm not doing bad. I'm just, there's a couple of little issues here and there. I think that probably what I should be doing right now is focusing a little bit more on Steve is me. Yeah, I'm Steve. Steve is a character that I play. Anyways, but I think maybe I should be focusing on maybe some things that we can do to improve risk management. If anything that I could do to improve risk management on short time frames would be really great. Okay, so I will see you guys tomorrow. Stay profitable, friends.